Oh boy, disclaimer.
Welcome one and all to Simpsons Treehouse of Horror Countdown Review. Continue watching, if you dare. Hey, remember how 2012 was meant to be the end of the world? Well, of course, the Simpsons couldn't help make a joke out of it for their annual Halloween special. We see the Simpson characters during the height of the Maya civilization, where they are about to sacrifice Homer to stop the end of the world. Marge manages to trick Moe into being sacrificed with the power of seduction. Moe's creepy perversions are always welcome in my book. Upon realising they've sacrificed the wrong person, Professor Frink concludes the world will end at the end of the 13th back turn, which will take place towards the end of 2012. We then fast forward to 2012, where Homer answers the door to the Mayan stone gods whom he mistakes for trick-or-treaters. They then crush him and destroy the world. Seeing them destroy national monuments from around the globe is really cool, and seeing the world explode to make the title card is a nice visual. This is a pretty solid intro overall, with my only real complaint being that it's a little bit too long. Otherwise, it's perfectly fine. Now this is what I'm talking about. An original concept! It's been so damn long! After convincing Springfield to spend lots of money building a particle accelerator instead of a new baseball stadium, the town blames Lisa for wasting their money when nothing worthy of note happens. When everyone leaves, two particles collide, causing a small black hole to form. It floats by Lisa, who after seeing it suck up Rouse and Nelson, decides to take it to the family basement to keep Springfield safe. However, despite her warnings not to, her family continuously feed the black hole random things, causing it to grow bigger and stronger until it eventually devours the town. First off, good lord, this segment is beautiful. The animation is stunning. Just seeing all the space around the hole being warped and the visuals of things being sucked into it make this segment worth a watch. The concept is also fun and original, which gets it a huge thumbs up from me. Most importantly though, it's funny and doesn't get boring. There's a lot of visual gags, such as the black hole refusing to swallow Bart's homework, the sea captain getting all of his false body parts removed, and Sideshow Mel being ripped out of his skin. Homer's hand being stretched into an unorthodox size is also a great visual. I really like the ending too. After Milhouse hits a home run, the baseball gets sucked into the hole, thus making it hit critical mass, allowing it to suck up the entirety of Springfield. After everyone else has been sucked up, Maggie's pacifier falls out of her mouth and lands into the black hole, which in turn sucks it like a pacifier, stopping it from swallowing anything else. Meanwhile, in another dimension, the citizens of Springfield are hailed by aliens who have collected and worshipped their garbage that got sucked into the hole. I really like the designs of these aliens, and it's nice to see the animators trying a new style, rather than using the typical Kang and Kodos cameo. I'm giving The Greatest Story of a Whole an 8 out of 10. It's a funny, interesting and unique segment that tells a great original story and is beautifully animated. In a clear parody of Paranormal Activity, Unnormal Activity shows the found footage of the Simpson family documenting the strange happenings going on in their house, which appears to be haunted. Said strange things include bloody writing on the walls, random bursts of hellfire, bed sheets being thrown, golf clubs being used, and Marge being possessed. While it's not an overly scary segment, it does have its chilling moments, such as Marge staring over Homer while he sleeps. Her wide eyes and the idea of her standing there for hours on end really does send a chill down my spine. The found footage genre of film isn't a favourite of mine, but I do think it works here because they do more with it. Homer falling down the stairs whilst carrying the camera is a great visual and uses the gimmick well. The voice acting is also superb here, with special credit going to Yeardley Smith for bringing Lisa's fear to life.
Why is this happening to us?
The segment really gets points though for its comedy. There are some great jokes throughout. Homer taking over an hour to take a leak always gets me laughing. Chief Wiggum also has this gold moment.
This creature feeds on your fear. What the hell was that? Actually, he feeds on more than just fear.
And Homer's reassuring words to Lisa have me in hysterics.
Oh, sweetie. Sometimes a mysterious invisible being from hell waits for a family to go to sleep, then kills them. Now go to bed.
Also, the alphabet blocks constantly having different messages throughout the segment is a nice visual gag. It turns out the reason this is all happening is because of a deal Marge made with the devil, played by Mo here, 30 years prior after her sisters summoned him out of boredom. He agreed not to take her sisters in exchange for her favourite child 30 years later. I love how when trying to take Maggie, he packs a few things for her, showing he isn't a complete monster. To settle the debt, Homer agrees to have a three-way with the devil and one of his demons. Upon agreeing on a safe word, Homer then says he wants to try something new, causing the devil to immediately scream the safe word. It's an odd ending for sure, but it's memorable and, being honest, kind of funny. Just the idea of Homer's kinks being too much for the Lord of Torture and Damnation is an amusing concept for me. Unnormal Activity gets an 8 out of 10 from me. It uses the fan footage style well, making the gimmick fun whilst also having some very funny moments and the occasional eerie moment. Time travel. It's a concept that is pretty much impossible to fuck up, and thankfully they didn't manage to do that here either. I will say this much though, this is the weakest segment of the episode, but it is still pretty good. Bart wants to buy a comic book but can't afford its $200 price. Upon being left the keys to Professor Frink's time machine, he goes back to 1974 so he can buy the comic for its original price of 25 cents. The animation on the time machine is also really nice and I enjoy the time travelling sequence. I really appreciate Bart having his red hat for this segment too. It's a nice throwback. Speaking of throwbacks, he hears his dad's name being called out and we see Homer and Barney being given a detention in the same scene from The Way We Was back in season 2. In detention, he angers Homer, causing him to strangle him. Marge sees this and it puts her off Homer forever despite him still having feelings for her. Again, this is a wonderful throwback to The Way We Was. Upon realising that he would be better off if his parents didn't get together, he convinces Marge to never marry Homer. Bart then travels back to his time, but 1974 Homer stows away in the back of the time machine. Bart discovers his dad is now Artie Ziff and that he is rich, even having Nelson as his personal butler. The Back to the Future references are getting stronger and stronger, I'll admit. Homer meets his past self and the two team up to summon every incarnation of Homer throughout time to take out Artie, but they all get owned by him and Bart in 5 minutes. That's pretty funny. Sadly, it does lack in laughs throughout, but as far as adventure and plot are concerned, it's pretty damn good. And it's entertaining, which is more than can be said for several other segments. It does follow Back to the Future rather closely, but it just does enough different things to separate it. The ending, however, falls flat on its arse. Upon seeing all the beaten Homers, Marge decides she was wrong to marry Artie and enters a relationship with all of them. Why? Fuck knows. Maybe her kink is having group sex with balding fat men. It then cuts to some time later where she is complaining that none of them took out the garbage. They all make Egyptian slave Homer do it, and that's the end of the segment and episode. It's a little disappointing considering how good the other two segment endings were. Ah well, it's still a 7 out of 10 from me. Sure, it's not scary and the comedy is lacking, but the visuals are brilliant and the plot and adventure side of things were top notch. Well, I've got to give credit where it's due, they sure made up for the previous blunder of an instalment. All 3 segments delivered here. Bart and Homer's Excellent Adventure was just that, a really fun adventure with some good throwbacks to the classic series of The Simpsons. The greatest story of a whole is a visual masterpiece with some genuinely good humour and a fantastic original concept to boot. And Unnormal Activity was a chilling, funny and engaging segment with some great visuals. I'm giving Treehouse of Horror 23 an 8 out of 10. All 3 segments were entertaining, it pushed the boat out with its styles and ideas and is an all around good watch. And that's it for this video and this review. Do you agree with me or do you think I'm a particle short of a black hole? What do you think of Treehouse of Horror 23? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, I'll see you next time.